complex cosplay you ever made? Complex.
We don't do complex.
I always answer with this. It's been like ongoing the past like 6 panels I've done. The answer to this question is always Kuja. And it's not really the most complex cosplay I've ever done. It's just that, while trying to figure out the crotch piece, I just looked at it and I don't know what happened. I don't actually remember making this cosplay. That's the weirdest part. So I'm gonna say it was very complex to make, just because I have no recollection.
For me, it was probably Crad from Dean Angel, because one, the wig's really complex, the wings took forever, and when I made it, I didn't know how to sew. So tackling that costume as a first-time thing was pretty difficult. Oh, and Muto from Princess Tutu with the raven wings. Yeah, that was stupid of me to try.
We stayed up an entire night finishing Muto stuff, and I think you were like...
My sewing machine broke.
Oh yeah, your sewing machine broke at the con. So we like stacked 2 beds on the side of a room in the place we were staying, and we just duct taped all night long. Like, everyone else is just sort of sitting outside in like the living room, just sort of twiddling their thumbs, like afraid to come in and bother us. And like we were also doing the Ruby Moon wig that she did for the same con, and I glue gunned around. I just took a clump of hair and I stuck it on there, and it burnt my fingers so bad, but I didn't even care. I just wanted it done.
Also, Ruby Moon almost burnt down my house. I was making Sculpey beads at 3 a.m. the night before we left.
Parents love you.
And instead of putting it in the actual oven, like you're supposed to, I put it in a toaster oven, which is like a smaller version of an oven. And yeah, it caught on fire. And it melted my toaster oven. And luckily I smelt it burning. So I went running into the kitchen, saw that my toaster oven was on fire, woke up my parents, and they weren't very happy with me.
There are lots of cosplays we've almost died in. There are very few that are like, I would say complicated or hard to make. Just like they cause injury or near like toxic death afterwards.
Yeah.
Was sewing something that you did before cosplay, or was it something that you learned during or for cosplay?
I was really afraid of a sewing machine for a long time. Yeah, sewing, I mean, I never actually planned to sew anything. My big plan was to get other people to sew what I needed. That didn't work. My friend Calibri helped me to learn how to, like, the basics of sewing. And I didn't sew for a long, long time. I would only sew when I really needed to, because I didn't have a sewing machine. And finally, when I got one, and I was actually able to use it on a regular basis, that's when I actually learned how to sew. Mind you, this was only about 1.5 years ago. Until then, I was faking everything. Glue. Most of my cosplays are glue. I'm terrible. I'm absolutely horrible at sewing.
For me, I learned how to hand sew when I was younger, and my first costume, Kagome, was hand sewed, and it looked really dumb. And then, yeah, Calibri taught me the basics of sewing, and I just kind of taught myself, so. Oh, you up there.
Pikachu.
Yeah, did you have any, like, hobbies before cosplay became, like, a major one?
Hockey. I spent most of my high school playing hockey. I was almost always at tournaments, so I practiced like 4 or 5 days a week and played on weekends, so that's really all I did for a long time. I was a goaltender, so I had like severe anxiety disorder from being a goaltender in hockey. So I sort of went into cosplay to just relax and do something, you know, quote-unquote nerdy for once. Because, I mean, before that it was just sports. Like, I just only did sports. And when you only concentrate on one thing, it gets really stressful. So, yeah, before that, I mean, I played almost every single type of sports, but hockey, ice hockey, mind you, was the main one. And football, and not soccer football, but...
For me, my biggest hobby was writing, and I still write. I also did a lot of reading and drawing, and then I did swimming sports, so like synchronized swimming and diving, and yeah, that was my hobbies.
And that turns out being helpful in cosplay because we were doing an underwater photo shoot. And I can't swim. Well, I can swim, but I can't, swim. And she's a really good swimmer. So we were doing underwater photos, and I was really afraid because I had a dolphin tail on my head. So I couldn't even use my legs. So we were doing underwater photos. I also can't open my eyes underwater. I'm always afraid I'm going to drown. It's just a horrible situation. So I almost drowned because I couldn't resurface for some reason. I was just like kicking underwater sheet to save me lifeguard style. So my hockey has never come into play cosplaying, but swimming yes.
When you cosplay, do you ever like get really into character?
Sometimes. Most of the time we...
Talk about me.
Oh, God. Most of the time we just kind of go in character when we're doing skits and photos. And we'll just be ourselves when the camera's not up. Sometimes cosplays take over your lives. I cosplayed Mew 2 years ago from Pokemon, a Kinjinka.
Was that long ago?
Yeah. And ever since then, I'll just randomly break out into Mew. And we kind of decided that Mew was, how do I put this lightly, mentally challenged. Because in the movie, she's kind of, yeah.
It's a side GIF, and it's Mew going around in a circle. Actually, no, it was a Nostalgia Critic review of the Pokemon movie. Where there's a part where Mew's just going like, Mew! around the circle, and then he stops the frame. He's just like, is it just me, or is Mew mentally retarded? He's just like, you know what, I think she is, because she just sort of chills on the side, and Val just,
Yeah, so,
Why doesn't he know that?
exactly.
yeah. Yeah, so I'll just randomly act like Mew a lot, actually.
Like, no, at home.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Well, you provoke me.
When have we actually acted in cosplay?
I don't know.
Aside from skits, we don't really get into... No, because I distinctly remember Courtney... Oh, okay. Here we go. We cosplayed Thumbelina from the movie Thumbelina by Don Bluth. Now you know what I'm talking about. And Valdrin, they always start with Valdrin. Cosplayed a character named Jackie Mo. Jackie Mo is... What is he, a pigeon? Swallow. She got really into it. She was walking around like, if you follow your heart, aha! And she'd be like walking around, she'd pop up behind you, she'd be like, aha! And then she'd try to touch you. And it was really freaky. And then Jackie Mo told this really weird, creepy story about how Jackie Mo likes the ladies, but the ladies do not like Jackie Mo. And one day Jackie Mo decided it was enough, and he killed all the ladies and buried their bodies in the river, and this really bad French-Canadian accent, and it got to the point where I ran away from her in the parking lot, and she chased me. And Quasimodo, which is one that we haven't done yet. Again, Valdrin makes a face that's Quasimodo, and we're all going to cosplay Quasimodo. She's going to be Esmeralda, and I'm going to be Phoebus, and Valdrin's going to be Quasimodo. And she does her quasi face, and she gets really into character, and then she leans over in the car, and it's like, my gypsy, doing a face that I can't even begin to try to do it. And then one time she drooled. She got so into it, so she was drooling over Nova. Nova was trying to get as far away from her as possible. We were in a car. You can't go anywhere. And that's when we decided that Quasi had gone too far.